Benny, bring me everyone.
What do you mean, everyone?
Everyone!
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Let me explain something to you. I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude.
No one is to stone anyone until I blow this whistle.
You can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Okay, welcome to the Zedos Game podcast, everyone. 103. This has been a long time coming, at least 102 anyway. And so we have a new guest. Introduce yourself, sir.
Oh yeah, my name's Congroo. I run the Krylo channel on YouTube, which is literally just me crying about Star Wars stuff since we're in the era that we are for Star Wars, you know. But yeah, I have a lot of good things to say there as well. But yeah, it's just Star Wars opinion, really. Okay, man. Well, thanks for coming on, dude. Appreciate it. And we have Neil, as always. Say hello, Mr. Neil.
I'm here, our old guest.
Yeah, you can finally call you your old guest now because you've been on it like I think 15 or so.
Yeah,
I think maybe 20 actually. But yeah, man, veteran of the show. And last but not least, Mr. Sachaland Productions Allari.
Hey, hey guys.
Okay, we'll go to the start of what we're talking about. Waiting for, but does that say Barbarians?
Yeah, Barbarians. Yeah.
Okay, what is that?
You didn't check the trailer?
I didn't know it was a trailer. So this is a trailer.
It says trailer.
I'm gonna let you go for it. What? Tell me what the film's about.
Okay, so it's a new film with Johnny Depp, Mark Rylance, and the guy that's Batman now. What's he called?
Robert Pattinson.
There we go. Arpaz is in the house in this film. Arpaz, yeah.
I didn't know that was his nickname.
That's his nickname, man. Arpaz is in the
Twilight,
house, man.
Somebody, soft ass nickname like that. You shouldn't be Batman.
Well, they're gonna call him Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne. Oh my gosh, that's good. I like that. Bruce Wayne.
Wazy.
Oh, stay Wazy. So, what did you make of the trailer?
Looks interesting. It's like an outpost kind of trailer where you've got kind of film where you've got like, you know, some British soldiers and an outpost and stuff. Mm-hmm. Johnny Depp's acting, not crazy Fruit Loop kind of acting, but like acting normal.
Sure. Yeah, I looked at the trailer. He looked a bit wacky still, to be honest. Like not fully normal.
But he wasn't. He just has an accent. He's not camping it up. You know what I mean? He's just playing the role what the role is, rather than being eccentric and like, you know what I mean?
Right. He's not overdoing it.
I was like, okay, what's that? Arpaz is in it. And Mark Rylance looks to be quite a big name in it. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Steven Spielberg's friend is doing something with that. Steven Spielberg, that's very rare. And it seemed intriguing to see kind of like a, you know, one of those kind of epics back on the big screen.
Mm-hmm. Satch is frozen.
Technical. With this climate at the moment, because we haven't had one in a while. Director changed his name completely, but it's like his fourth film ever. So, and this is like his first like one with a big cast. So, hello,
Satch.
Like I ain't paying attention.
We can hear you. You broke up for a second, and your face was frozen.
Okay, but could you hear me?
Parts of it.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's been just carry on. It's fine.
Yeah, it's being directed by. Fuck, I've lost the guy's name now. But anyway, yeah. I think it looks all right. What did you guys think? Did anyone watch the trailer?
I watched the trailer.
Go on now.
Thoughts?
Okay, I watched it. It's
I know where that's coming now.
it's the kind of film where, looking at the trailer, there's nothing about it that makes me go, oh, I don't want to watch that. But there's absolutely nothing about it that makes me go, oh wow, that looks really interesting. Like I'm really engaged by that. I was like, okay, it's a film. It's got a good cast. You know, the three main leads, I guess you could call them, in Mark Rylance, Johnny Depp, and Robert Pattinson. And I was like, okay, you've got good three leads, but that's about it. It's clearly a film where it's like, all right, this film is going to show you about character development, and you know, this is the kind of film, like, you know, they're going to be talking about this come Oscar time, you know, or maybe best actor or best supporting actor. This is not the film that, you know, this ain't the film that's going to be breaking no records.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's not going to be breaking records. It's not going to be suddenly like, oh wow, you know, like you have to see Waiting for Barbarians. Like when Sash, when you told me to watch the trailer, in my heart, honestly, I was like, I hope I see Barbarians in this. And I saw the trailer and I was like, not even before I saw the trailer, just looking it up, I was like, I'm not gonna see no Barbarians in this.
Well, I mean, it's
Dude, I said watch it because we're doing a movie podcast, man. Come on, it can't be all comic book blockbusters.
Obviously, I get that, but I'm just like, I saw the film I saw the trailer for the film, and I looked at it, and in my heart, I was like, I can picture the Oscar nominations. I'm like, all right, probably best actor, probably best supporting actor, maybe cinematography, probably costume design, maybe, I don't know, like, we have to see the film to know, but maybe sound editing. It's going to be a film that you know, they're hunting for Oscars, but they're not hunting for best picture.
Right.
Maybe best original screenplay. I don't know if it is original, but they're hunting for different type of Oscars here.
Right. I guess because Johnny Depp's in it as well, that's going to reconfirm him as, look, I was fucking Johnny Depp before this whole Amber Heard shit.
Johnny Depp right now, Johnny Depp is, oh man, that guy, it's hard to hate him right now.
Yeah, it really is. You can't. You just can't.
You're looking at it and you're like, okay, so you got all that disrespect that got thrown at you in the media by everyone in the media. You know, you got crucified in the court of public opinion because they thought you was beating up your missus. Come to find out, she's busting your head, cutting off your baby finger and whatnot.
Yeah.
And even on top of that, it's like, and you never badmouthed her. He was never in the press saying, oh, she's lying, she did this and this and this. What he was like, yo, he's just silent. He was silent. Like, I never saw any interviews or any news feeds or anything where he was just being like, oh, yeah, she's a bitch. Or,
yeah, he didn't mention her once.
He didn't say nothing, right? Even when Disney took his whole Pirates of the Caribbean away from him, right? All of that, nobody said nothing.
Yeah.
Didn't say a thing. And then even when he's been proven, he's been vindicated, he ain't said a word. I'd have been there. I'd have been like, yeah, Hollywood Reporter, come kiss my ass and apologize in public. Right?
Yeah.
But he kept it cool, he kept it moving, and now he's like, you know what? I can't do blockbusters no more. Let me show you that I can still pull the trigger on this real acting.
Yeah, and that's literally what I feel. He's reconfirming his acting ability in a film that he knows.
In a weird way, though, this could be the best thing that's ever happened to him because before he got a blank check to do whatever he wanted and play ookie kooky spooky till the public was done. You know what I mean? Like, it was getting to that point. If you saw him in another wacky role, you were kind of sick and tired of it, except for like a handful of movies. There were probably a handful of movies where he wasn't, you know what I mean? But hopefully now we get to see some proper sick performances out of Depp. More films like Blow, more films like what was that one where he was, the gangster, Black Mass. More films like
Black Mass. Right. Yeah.
like he's capable of so much more, but he likes to fuck about, innit? So
did any of you?
Hey, man, if Disney gave me the money that they were giving him to make Pirates, I'll fuck about too. Right? You wouldn't see a serious piece of acting from me in your life. I would be everything. I'll be the token black dude in the movie. I'll be the ha ha ha, right? I'll be doing all of that for that kind of money that they were throwing at him. Because I'm sure by the time he got to Pirates 3, he was like, all right, I'm kind of done with this now. And then it was just like, you just hear, you know when like a massive truck is backing up and you just hear that beep, beep.
Dump truck full of money.
I was like, oh, Johnny, what's that? And he was just like, it's the Disney money truck. They're coming back again.
Actually, funnily enough, that's actually his favorite character. That's why he keeps going back.
He always says that.
He actually loves that character. That's why.
Didn't he say he liked to do it for his kids as well?
Yeah, that's right. The other thing is though, here's a G story with Johnny Depp. So way back when they were making Pirates of the Caribbean, it was basically they were making a film of a theme park ride. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they had a script. It was okay. It was okay at best, which is another way of saying it was kind of dog shit. The director looked at it and then he was like, well, I like the Monkey Island games. And he's actually said that. And he goes, we're going to borrow some elements from there. So he did. And then when they cast Johnny Depp based his character on Keith Richards. Director was cool with it. But when Disney looked at it, or more importantly, Michael Eisner, who was the head of Disney at the time, when he looked at it, he did not like the character of Jack Sparrow. That he turned around to Gore Verbinski and, we need to reshoot like your whole movie. We need to recast Johnny Depp. And then Johnny Depp sat down with Michael Eisner and said, well, yeah, you can fire me and spend, I don't know, maybe about another 100 million on this movie and have it tank. Or we can finish it, have it tank anyway, and whatever. Because either way, I've had 6 weeks in the Caribbean and all the rum I could drink. Cheers for the free holiday, Disney. Balls in your court. I'm not fussed either way. And then they did the cheaper option, and then it made them bear money. When it came for the sequels, he just turned around and basically said, keep Michael Eisner away from me. And then his agent negotiated ridiculous amounts of money to come back. And that's literally it. And that's why he's had the free pass to do what he wants on those films, to be fair. Eisner's gone. He got replaced by Iger, which was a good thing for a long time for that company. unless you're a Star Wars fan. But anyway.
Yeah, well, again, I've not seen the trailer yet. Is this the one where does he look very official in this?
Yeah, he's got like black glasses, mustache, black glasses. Right. Just like I wanted to say about this film, like it could be really good for Johnny Depp, because I look at like Mickey Rourke and how he like revived his acting career, like when he was getting a lot of bad press and all of that stuff. So yeah, I look at what Mickey Rourke did, and probably Johnny Depp, like he's an accomplished actor and everything. Like he's really good. Like he can get into character. He can hold a film at times. He can do whatever. He can play a supporting role. He can do everything. So yeah, I'm not really excited about this Waiting for Barbarians though. Like based on the trailer, maybe when another trailer comes out, it might shed more light as to like what the story is actually going to be. Right. But from the trailer itself, it doesn't really. There's not really any sort of story aspects that I guess they're just waiting for barbarians. I don't know. But
I guess it's trailers these days. You don't really know what to expect unless you know what the franchise is. It's like, okay, that's another trailer for a film that I may or may not see. It's kind of like that. But I guess I have to watch it at some point. Okay, we'll go to topic number 2, which is a Batman topic. It's Michael Keaton is possibly going to be Batman again. It's the Flash movie, right?
Yeah, that's right.
1, is this Flash movie actually going to happen? 2, What about the other Batman? 3. What about the other Batman? And 4. What about the other Batman?
Multiple Batmen.
Multiple. Yeah, Batman. Yeah. Sorry. No. You go.
No, I think it's. I just think it's great because obviously, the massive thing about comics is we get different editions by different artists and different writers, and they all portray that same character in a different light. And Batman is one of like the biggest. You have an old Bruce Wayne, you have a young Bruce Wayne, you have a Bruce Wayne that is sort of accepting of his like parents dying, and someone who's just taking revenge on all criminals. Like you have just multiple different types of Bruce Wayne. So having like incorporating that into films is probably the way forward now that there's been multiple renditions of Batman films and Batman actors, Bruce Wayne actors and stuff. So,
yeah. Oh crap. Okay, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so with the sort of now there being multiple Bruce Waynes in film, I think it's a really good thing because like obviously you've got Batman comics and you've got different versions of Bruce Wayne and Batman that have like different struggles and different things happen to them and they take things in different ways. And it happens in Marvel and it happens in DC. Obviously, you don't, like, for instance, you don't just have the Amazing Spider-Man, you have the Sensational Spider-Man, you have all of these Ultimate Spider-Man, you have all of these different sort of sides of Peter. And I really like what they're doing in these films now, that they have multiple actors that have played Bruce Wayne, that you can now mix and match these sort of different Bruce Waynes, Batman in different media.
Right. Yeah, that's quite true actually. Do you think okay, do you think Days of Future Past was a door open to that?
Yeah, I think X-Men did it first. The X-Men film franchise did it first. And Days of Future Past was actually one of their better films.
Yeah.
Actually
it was
one of the better films. So yeah, I think they've sort of shown how to do it in a decent way.
Yeah, definitely. In regards to the Michael Keaton news, I'll be glad to see him again. But what I feel like I don't feel that they have a plan. Because I liked the Joker. I liked to varying degrees Aquaman. Wonder Woman I enjoyed, but it seems like they, I don't know. I guess Neil would be the better person to ask this, but in terms of course correcting, do you think they're going in the right direction?
Yes and no. I mean, like in regards of everything that's going on with like the DCEU as it stands, whether or not is Affleck in? Is he out? Is Cavill in? Is he out? Are they going to use Flashpoint to course correct? All of these things, right? My outlook is, I mean, because for one, I know I'm the only person who believes this, that I'm like Captain America, First Avenger, and Wonder Woman are the same movie.
Right. Yeah.
I've said it many a times, they are the same movie. You break them down piece by piece. They have the same beats throughout the film.
The same mechanics.
The same mechanics.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm like, the only difference really and truly is that Wonder Woman gets the love being the first kind of female-led superhero film.
Right.
And people are like, oh, Captain America First Avengers, mediocre. It's like the second worst of the first wave of MCU films.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you love Wonder Woman but you hate Captain America, I'm like, the dubious person. Right?
Yeah, you're a hypocrite, dude. How can you like that one look like the other? I hear you.
Yeah, but in regards to what we were supposed to be saying about
course correction.
Batman, my outlook is this: like Marvel, DC, especially because DC do it a lot more than Marvel do it comic wise, is the exploration of the multiverse. So I feel like that is a brilliant thing. It's a brilliant thing to jump in multiverse. Oh, everything, to have a blanket statement, and basically be like everything you've ever seen from Warner Brothers in regards to the DC property happened. If it's where they could turn around and say, you know what, Batman and Batman Returns exist in their own universe, and you could even say Batman Forever is its own universe, Batman and Robin is its own universe, and Wonder Woman TV show is its own universe, and the failed pilots is its own universe, and the Birds of Prey movie that the Birds of Prey TV show that they did way back when, that exists, and Adams West Batman, all of it exists. Everything you saw exists. Right. I think it's a brilliant thing, because if you say, look, it's the multiverse, what you're basically saying is because I think people have this kind of habit of, if you watch a film and then the film says, okay, this new film is coming out, is set after the events of the film that you love, and it disregards everything that happened in the film that you didn't like, i.e., Terminator, where they're like, oh, Dark Fate happened after Terminator 2, and Genesis and Terminator 3 and Terminator Salvation, none of it ever happened. Right?
Yeah.
To me, it's a cop-out. And I know I'm hypocritical because I would love to have seen Neil Blomkamp's Alien 3, right? But it's a cop-out. I'm the type of person, my outlook is like, find a way to work with what you did, right?
Right.
Because you spent millions of dollars to make these films, and you spend that money, the film exists, right? Whether you like it or not, it exists.
Yeah.
Ride that wave, right? Because they always say that, course correction, steadying the ship. Let's face it, ships have to go through troubled waters at times. And what's better, the ship that takes the troubled waters and winds up going where it's supposed to go, or the ship that hit the troubled waters and sank to the bottom of the ocean, and they were like, all right, next boat, right? Like, stop treating, don't treat your films like Titanic. Treat your films like Noah's Ark, right?
Right.
One sank on its maiden voyage, one didn't. Right? So, just be like that. But with Michael Keaton, I think it's a very good and it's a very bad thing. It's a very good thing because he's beloved. He's a brilliant actor. Incorporating him as he was as Batman into the DCEU, it could work wonders. It could work wonders. The problem with it is, I think everyone's expectation would probably be, okay, so does this mean that we're getting a Batman Beyond? Because for years everyone's been like, oh, I want to see a Batman Beyond, and I want to see the Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, that's a brilliant idea. I like the sound of it. But at the same time, I'm like, but everybody needs to go and watch just one episode of Batman Beyond. And the realization is that shit did not take place in like what is currently 2020 outside.
Yeah, Batman Beyond.
There's no flying cars. Like Tesla is the biggest innovation we have with a car.
Right. Yeah, that's not represented in Beyond.
Yeah, I'm like, they got flying cars, like everything about it is futuristic. Now, I'd love to see a Batman Beyond film with everything being futuristic. We have the technology, we have the graphics, we have the minds who can conceive what a futuristic Gotham City would look like. And hell, if you really want to make that Gotham City the futuristic version of what Tim Burton created with Batman and Batman Returns, right? You really want to go batshit nuts? Do that. Then you've got a level of continuity. Whereas just we're going to bring him in, and I saw a report and it said he's being brought in not just for the cameo, for an actual run.
Yeah.
And he's basically going to be like their version of Nick Fury. Again, I have no problems with that, but at the same time, I'm like,
yeah, that's
like you're entering new waters with something that's been established in multiple different layers or multiple different times as working differently.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Sorry, Sach. Before, when you went off the air, we were talking about Michael Keaton and the new DC, or being incorporated into the DCU now, and how Days of Future Past kind of opened a door to like, oh, X-Men 3 is actually okay now because there's a film over here that kind of negates it in a way. It exists to not exist, if you know what I mean.
I think it's stunt casting. I think it's, here's the thing. We know Warner Brothers don't have a plan. They don't. They don't have a plan. They don't have a plan. This is not Kevin Feige's master plan where he had the blueprint hidden away from the higher ups at Marvel till he got promoted and went to phase 2. It's like, it's game time. Boom. You know what I mean? Here's the roadmap to Thanos, because that's what he did. All right, man had a plan. You look at the Iron Man interviews. Okay, I've been pro Feige since day one, bruv. Since his X-Men days when he was on X1 to 3, when he was like, "Yeah, X-Men 3 is going to be shit, but yo, Brett, here's stuff from my game book. Go play." Go put them in the movie, and they ended up being the best parts of that movie, even though that movie sucked. But you know what? It's Feige's fault. He wasn't in a position of power. That was good old Avi Arad when he used to be the Marvel guy. You know what I mean? Iron Man 1 came in, and no one wanted to do Iron Man at Marvel. They were like, no, we want to send it to Paramount. We want Tom Cruise to be Iron Man. And Feige was like, no, I'm putting my own money in. I made all these straight to DVD animated ones that made the company bare money. I've saved money. We got 200 million. Let's go make it. I want John Favreau as my director. He's going to be the guy. He wants some crazy guy called Robert Downey Jr. I'm a bit iffy about him. I'm not too sure, but like John Favreau knows what he's doing, so I got his back. Boom, Iron Man. Boom, Incredible Hulk. Boom, Thor, boom, Avengers. And during those early Marvel films, he was like, look, the plan is to have an Avengers film. And you know what? It worked. Even I doubted that Avengers film because I was still like, you gotta understand, Marvel was in its infancy, and I was like, they're going to drop the ball, 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 and they didn't drop the ball. They didn't drop the ball. When I saw Avengers 1, I was like, oh, damn, they did not drop the ball. What the fuck's going on here? And then, obviously, there's been a few bumpy things along the way. Thor, Dark World, Iron Man 3, which I didn't think was that bad, but I understand why people think it's bad because you give the promise of the Mandarin and give us that. But they could course correct. They could course correct that, and they know they know they. And unlike other companies, when Marvel drop the ball, they fully take it. They take the hit. They go, cool. Don't worry, we're on it. You know what I mean? And they've just since then they've just gone hit after hit after hit after hit to the point where it's like, cool, you guys have got this. We know you got this. Whatever, innit? Hell, I saw Thanos. Hell, we had the Infinity War. I never thought I'd see that fucking epicness in all of my life. But it's all down to they had a fucking plan. You know what I mean? Executed by one guy who's a producer that's a fanboy that knows his shit. If all companies had a person like that in power, nothing but success. Warner Brothers, you just have a group of producers that all have ties. I've said this time after time after time. That are all playing the money game. They're all playing catch up. And this smells like a typical Warner Brothers move where you have a young executive in the room going, hey, you know what? We should bring Michael Keaton back because it's like bringing back Sean Connery as Bond. It'll be a buzz and blah, blah, blah. That's totally the move there. All right.
Does he have that accent as well?
Yeah, he does. I would like to think that no, that wasn't the case, that they had the smarts to bring Michael Keaton in, but it totally isn't. It's a stunt move because you know what? Do you know what people weren't talking about?
Michael Keaton.
They weren't talking about The Flash.
Right.
They weren't talking about the Flash. They're still not talking about the Flash. We're talking about Batman Beyond. But the original thing is, he's coming back for the Flash. No one gives a fuck about the Flash. You know why? Because this movie's been in development hell for like 7 years, over about 90 directors going in and out that revolving door, because they're all like, oh, damn, it's shit in here. I'm exiting. Quite literally.
Right.
And then one guy whose passion project, the one guy that I've forgotten the director's name, but he directed one
Josh
episode.
Whedon.
No, it wasn't Josh Whedon. It was a black guy. He did one of the episodes of Mandalorian. He turned around at Comic-Con. There was a big Comic-Con, and he went down. And his speech at Comic-Con showed me one thing. He's a true Flash fan. He wasn't going to let the ship sink.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a script. That script went online, and they were like, yeah, this should be the Flash movie. It's amazing. And you know what happened? Warner Brothers toughed this script out. They wanted to do rewrites, and then he left. You know why he left? Because they were fucking with it, man.
Right.
They're fucking with it because they, you know what I mean? They're scared. They don't know what they're doing, and when they don't know what they're doing, they start like trying other avenues, thinking they're geniuses and they know what they're doing. And it's like, I've seen Rise of Skywalker, and that shit don't work out, man. And lo and behold, as usual, we haven't got a Flash movie. You know what I mean? Last time I heard Ezra Miller was writing the script. Why is the Flash writing the script for his own movie?
Maybe he can do it faster.
I think the world has been proven no, he can't. So you know,
how do you know that?
Has it gone into development yet? No.
That means nothing, though. That means
that don't mean that he can't write it fast. That just means that, you know.
No, they announced that a year ago, though. They announced he was writing it a year ago. You're telling me that like they couldn't have written the script in a year?
Hey man, it took me a year to write a 25-minute script. It takes a long time.
It does, but this is Warner Brothers, man. They've got deadlines and shit. Well, obviously they don't on the Flash because like no one cares.
I think it's not. In regards to this hypothetical situation, I don't think it's necessarily how fast someone is or isn't writing a script. I imagine with Warner Brothers, they've written a script, they submit the script, and Warner Brothers are like, oh, but can you change this? And what about that? And you know, this worked on TV. Could we do this? And
okay, we're going.
We already established that it's always a thing of there's multiple people in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Neil.
Yeah.
The whole script thing, that was just a off the fly comment. I don't think we were going into the pedantics into how long it takes one to write a script. Either way, what I'm trying to say is the Flash is fucked, DC's fucked. I see Birds of Prey, and wow. Just wow.
This Michael Keaton inclusion does seem to be something like, oh crap, this movie's gonna flop if we don't do something really fast.
Totally.
Let's get Batman in, sort of thing.
Let's get Batman in. Now, here's the thing. I hope it's a multi-picture deal. I hope they look at the buzz and we get a Batman Beyond film. But until man signs dotted line, I mean, it's not a thing. And more importantly, the minute they actually film a single frame of celluloid footage for the Flash, then it's a thing at this moment in time. Because at the moment, it's just a myth. You know what I mean? It's borderline fantasy. And with Ezra Miller choking out girls in Norway or wherever the hell he's doing it, when it's supposed to be quarantined.
Allegedly. We don't know.
You know what? Do you know what's weird about that? There is actually footage, and I watched the footage. I watched him do it. Well, I wouldn't say he choked her out. He's like, you know, he didn't MMA her, grips her up, and then drop her, right? Like, she was doing something to him, and then he basically just grabbed her and put, like, at first, it looked like you know that thing where people are dancing and then they like the guy leans.
Oh, like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like he was doing that and he might have dropped her, but then it was like the dude that was filming was like, "Oh, not cool." And you know, look, I'm not the type of person that is, you know, okay with violence against women. I'm not okay with violence against men. I'm not okay with violence in real life. I want my violence in a film, in a video game, TV show, you know. Let me see a superhero punch another one through a building. I don't want to see a person in the street knock somebody out. It's not cool. It's not my thing. That said, I'm like, you get disrespectful enough, you're going to get a clap in the mouth. And I want to know exactly what this lady said to make little Ezra Miller who apparently frequents that bar on a regular basis, he didn't lose his shit, but what did she do to make him do what he did?
Something clearly happened.
Because I'm like, it's that thing of, you know, people are always like, oh, you did this, you're terrible. And it's like, oh, if there's chances, in my opinion, if there's a videotape of me beating someone up, they did something to earn that, right? I didn't just wake up in the morning and think, I'm going to whoop somebody's ass today.
Yeah.
Either way, he's still the Flash, and Ray Donovan done his job.
Yeah, that's very true. I didn't know you watched Ray Donovan.
I've only just started, to be honest.
Oh, I love that show. I love Ray Donovan. I love it. Anyway,
I heard the show, but I totally missed that reference because I ain't watched it.
Ray Donovan's like a Hollywood fixer. It's the main character is what's his name?
Lee Shriver.
Yeah, Lee Shriver. You will not mess with this guy. You just won't. No nonsense, no nothing. Any nonsense, you're either beaten up or dead. So that's Ray Donovan, fixer. Watch it; it's great.
I think the cost of the Justice League in the DCEU need to hire him and say, "Look, you know, the Warner Brothers office is like their next meeting is Tuesday. Go get it."
Okay. Moving on. Henry Cavill is keen to play Superman for years. Rumors are about Jake Gyllenhaal being in JJ's film. What do you guys make of this piece of news?
Okay, first off, the Jake Gyllenhaal thing, that's just a light rumor. I've tried searching for it. I couldn't find any articles. It was something mentioned on a podcast I was looking at, and I was like, really? Jake Gyllenhaal? I don't see it myself. But I threw it in there because now it's kind of in the zeitgeist, and I'm assuming like We Got This Covered is probably going to be all over this anyway. And say that I wouldn't be surprised if it was their sources as well. But either way, like Jake Gyllenhaal and Superman, fuck no. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. He could probably do a good job, but end of the day, it's like I'm from the school of keep it an unknown because it works. You know, like Brandon Routh, good Superman. Henry Cavill, good Superman. Christopher Reeves, good Superman. The guy from the TV show that's currently Superman now, not a good Superman, and he's in bear stuff before. So fuck it.
You know what's weird, right? It's like, if J.J. Abrams if it was a real thing, it wasn't a rumor, and he was going to make a Superman film, and he decided to make Jake Gyllenhaal, go ahead, do your thing. Hey, look, if DC are establishing that the multiverse is a real thing and it exists and it is a thing, then hey, you can make as many Superman films as you want that, you know, don't have Henry Cavill. The only issue is though that I'm like, you know, Jake Gyllenhaal, good actor as he is, I'm like when you put people side by side, it's like within Hollywood, as horrible as it sounds, sometimes you're only as good as the person who played the role before you. Right. So it's like one of the reasons, like whether people like it or not, for me, one of the reasons why people were really against Jared Leto as the Joker. Like some people say, oh, it's the performance, and I didn't really like it. All right, cool, you're entitled to your opinion. My opinion is they didn't like it because it was so different, so away from what they are beholden to, which is what Heath Ledger did. Right? He carved out a performance which was phenomenal. Right? I mean, let's face it, he was the star of the movie, right? Christian Bale, side piece, right?
Yeah. No, that's really how it felt.
Yeah, he was the star of the film. The film was about him. He owned that role and he made it brilliant. He and Jared Leto, he attempted to do his own thing within the realms of the guidance of whatever he was given from the director and from the story and from everything he read. Right, regardless of whether or not things that he had filmed were cut out of the film and whatever, all of that it don't matter. The performance of what we see is what we can judge him on. You know, but at the same time, if Heath Ledger's performance wasn't great, then people would have been cussing because like, oh, he wasn't like Jack Nicholson. You know, like one of the reasons why I say people adore Christian Bale's the Dark Knight trilogy is because the last time you saw Batman was freaking George Clooney, right? if the Dark Knight trilogy was the next, if Batman Begins came out after Batman Returns,
yeah,
it would have been loved because it's a brilliant film. But that kind of level of love, that's a hard road to walk, because you're talking about Keaton. Everybody loves Keaton. Most people, is a general belief that Keaton is the best Batman. So if you're coming after the best, hey, you got some hard work ahead of you. If you're coming after Batman and Robin, you ain't got too much to worry about. As long as you're good, you're okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I think Christian Bale was more than serviceable. In that role.
I mean, that my only complaint with Christian Bale, and it's not his fault at all.
Yeah,
it's Nolan's fault.
I know exactly what
the Cookie Monster voice, man. Swear to me.
I think that's a good idea though, because if you really think about it, it's really stupid for a masked hero to sound exactly like how their alter ego sounds. So like, I get the reasoning that he's like, okay, look, I'm going to be meeting all of the people that know me as Bruce Wayne, so I have to. Obviously, it was a stupid voice, so it was a dumb voice, but at least I get why he did that voice.
You should see Christian Bale's screen test in the Batman Forever suit. His actual screen test. You can look at it on YouTube. It's him and Cillian Murphy and another actor. They're all auditioning for Batman. Cillian Murphy wasn't too bad, but you can tell when you see Bale, you're like, fuck you, Murphy, because you know what I mean. And the other guy, the third guy they had, fuck him, because he was shit, both as Bruce Wayne and as Batman. If that makes sense.
Really?
He was. Cillian Murphy was a good Bruce Wayne. He didn't seem imposing as Batman, but Bale was on point. And he's not doing the Cookie Monster voice there. In fact, he's trying to do his best Michael Keaton when he's Batman. And it was really well done. So, I can see why he got the role as well. But then when you watch the actual movie, obviously he's not doing that because Christopher Nolan, the whole point with Batman Begins was that Batman, to the normal Gotham people, they'd never seen what Batman was. So he's a myth, he's a legend, he could be a demon and stuff. And that's why when you get the hallucinogenic kind of stuff, they have that moment where he looks where what's his face? Cillian Murphy looks at him and he's a demon, isn't he?
Right.
That's the image that the Gothamites see of Batman during that whole thing when the gases go down. They see a big flying demon. You know? So he has the, and then he puts on this voice to put the scares in the criminals, isn't it? So that just kind of remained inconsistent throughout all of them. But I kind of wished it. I see why, but do you know what I mean? It was like I was like, oh man, like I don't like the voice, but otherwise, that aside, I do like Bale. Bale is top 2 easily for me. Affleck is up there, but my problem with Affleck is
he didn't get a chance to.
He did get a chance,
no.
He was always good, but it was just a material given to him because you could see how he would be a good Bruce Wayne, and you could also see how he could be a good Batman. Because as much as I hate BVS, like the bit where he goes to save Martha Wayne and in that factory scene and he takes out all those people, oh my god, man, that was sick. But when you watch the movie, you don't appreciate it because you're coming off the whole movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But as a YouTube clip, it's amazing. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, that's Batman. But you know what I mean? That movie's so dog shit that by the time you get to that scene, you just don't appreciate it. So yeah.
But yeah, what I was gonna say though is, something that just occurred to me. For those who are fans of the TV show Entourage, remember when they made the Aquaman movie in Entourage, and it was like the highest grossing film of all time. Quite funny considering that Aquaman is like one of the highest grossing films.
Yeah.
But the joke of it was that when they did the sequel, Jake Gyllenhaal was who played Aquaman in the sequel. Because Winston Chase didn't do it.
Oh yeah, that's right. He didn't, did he?
And I was just like, y'all, you like, did you guys not learn from what Entourage predicted? Like, don't give that man no superhero suit, right? You give him a super villain suit.
Yeah, but no, just leave it there, man. Don't
give that man no superhero suit. You say, look, you're the bad guy, right? I'm like, no, you're the bad guy.
That show
wait, stop, guys, can you just? This thing keeps telling me to update. I'm gonna have to turn this off and figure this out. I'll be back in 1 minute. I just need to put in the code that it's given me so I can update.
Yeah,
so
sure.
That's cool, bro.
Okay. Fuck.
You ever have this problem on your?
All right, we're back on. What were we talking about?
So we just finished the Jake Gyllenhaal possibly being Superman.
Right.
Moving
okay, moving on to the Henry Cavill section of it. I have no problem with Henry Cavill being Superman at all. He's done if not a reputable job as with what started and where he ended up. So I've got no problem with him at all. He's been the best Superman since Reeves, I believe. I think we all know what John Campea thinks about him, but he's done no wrong in my eyes.
Yeah, I like him as well. I like what he says in interviews and stuff. I like that he seems to be a fan of this kind of thing. I know he's on The Witcher as well.
Yeah.
So like he seems to be clued up in the fandoms that he is a part of. So I don't have a problem with him staying this.
I like how he stuck up for gamers as well.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So what's it that they were like, well, you don't look like a video gamer, and then he was like, well, what does that mean? He's just totally like completely like just it's a thing.
He seems proper humble. And
You know what's weird about that is they make these statements where they're like, oh, you don't look like a gamer, and I was like, I'm like, you how can you make that assumption? I was like, look at what's his name, Joe
Magdaleno.
I'm like, that dude is a absolute animal beast when you see him physically. I'm like, that dude plays more D&D than most people could. He plays more D&D than every season of Stranger Things put together. You know, and they were I was like, but look at you. And I was like, yeah, he's married to Sofia Vergara, one of the most beautiful women in the world, and he plays Dungeons and Dragons. Like, he's winning in every form of life you can imagine.
He's one of my eyes. Sach, what's next after this? Has everyone done with their 2 cents on this?
Yeah, pretty much.
What's next?
So the directors for Bad Boy 3. What are their names?
Oh wait, I'll try to find
out. Bill Alfara and Abdi El Abi. They both directed the last Bad Boys 3. I know me and Joe both really enjoyed that film. They're talking about, because they've been signed for Netflix's Beverly Hills Cop 4 with Eddie Murphy, of course.
Yeah.
While talking about the project, they were asked whether while talking about Beverly Hills Cop 4, they were talked about whether or not they would return for Bad Boys 4, and they said there has been conversations, and when asked who they'd like to have up against the Bad Boys, they both replied Axel Foley. Elaborating more on that, they said they wouldn't have him as a bad guy against them. He'd be a cop that's like on the same case that is against them in that kind of thing.
Right.
Then you'd like to have him, and like as a big team up kind of thing. And they were like, okay, where's the connection? They were like, we want to make the first film that'd be kind of like a Jerry Bruckheimer universe, which begs the question: will Nicolas Cage return as like the guy from Con Air?
Well,
or maybe he's the bad guy. Maybe
I
he's
wouldn't
the
come
bad
back
guy.
as Cameron Poe. I want him coming back as what was his name in The Rock?
Oh.
I want him coming back as the one from The Rock, man.
Oh, good speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, good speed. Yeah.
Good speed.
I think it's a nice creative thing to do. Like if they Beverly Hills Cop and Bad Boys are sort of iconic film franchises, and I for one would like to see them. You've got to get the semantics right though. Like I guess for Beverly Hills Cop 4, they could maybe put some hint in there, maybe some cameo, something alluding to Miami or something, like having to go to Miami or something would be nice.
Yeah, that would be cool actually. In terms of Beverly Hills Cop, do you? I mean, I guess he could still pull it off. I just don't know. I just
Here's the thing with Beverly Hills Cop. The reason why he personally hadn't done one is because he didn't want it to end up like Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Right.
If you know anything about Beverly Hills Cop, this is more for John because I'm pretty sure he hasn't heard me talk about the subject on podcasts before. Beverly Hills Cop, the original concept for Beverly Hills Cop was it was supposed to be a much darker, grittier film in vein of the 80s action movies that came at the time with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone with Rambo. It's so much, in fact, that they actually asked Schwarzenegger first and Stallone. Stallone actually said yes to the project and rewrote the whole script because he wanted to go more darker than what the original concept was, and the original concept was more gritty, so he wanted to go even more darker and more further with it because obviously he's Rambo, isn't it? So, and he gave them the script. They didn't like his script, and then they offered it to Bruce Willis, who turned them down. They offered it to Clint Eastwood, also turned it down. They offered it to every movie tough guy, turned down. And then 48 Hours came out, blew up the box office, and then an executive over at Paramount was like, hey, what about Eddie Murphy? And then they were like, okay, but he's a funny guy, right? And then they're like, well, he can be funny. He can just ad-lib his lines and everyone can just stick to the script or run off him. So technically, even though he's not credited for it, all of Axel Foley's lines, he ad-libbed. All the humor, he ad-libbed. You know what I mean? He didn't have a script. When it came for the second film, it was more or less he made shit up as he went along. It was like, just put the camera, what's it? Tony Scott famously said he just put the camera on Eddie Murphy and he just did his thing, you know? When it came to Cop 3, they wanted to tone it down for the kids, even though it's a 15 here. I think it was a PG-13 out there. I'm not too sure, but it was a toned down version and there was a script and Eddie Murphy wasn't allowed to go nuts and do his thing. So he's always been resilient to Cop 4 whenever there's been a buzz because, you know what I mean, of what happened on number 3. Now, Netflix have a huge deal with Murphy, which started with Dolomite Is My Name, which is an excellent movie if no one's seen it because it's a return.
It's a very good movie.
Yeah, it's a return of Old School Eddie. Yeah. And part of the deal was to get Cop 4 off of Paramount. So Paramount they've paid Paramount $200 million to go make Cop 4, and it's going to be straight to Netflix, giving them they can make it an 18 now. He can go do his thing, and that's kind of the plan here, which is why I'm excited about it because we all love Old School Eddie. And I've seen a slice of Old School Eddie return, you know what I mean? And if this is more in vein of Old School Eddie, then Cop 4 is something to look forward to in my eyes. But until we have a trailer, we can't really say.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But I was going to say, funny little anecdote to add to what you were saying. The script that Sylvester Stallone wrote wound up being that film, what was it? Cobra?
Yeah, and that's an amazing film. That should have got a sequel back in day, but it didn't. You know,
that's crazy.
So anybody who wanted to see a dark version of Beverly Hills Cop,
watch Cobra.
Yeah.
Right.
Cobra. Sorry.
in terms of the crossover and stuff, you know, it could work. It depends. They did a really good job with Bad Boys 3. I felt, I really enjoyed it. And what I liked about Bad Boys 3 is that it, even though we got more of the same, they kind of had moments in it where I did not expect to happen in it.
Yeah.
Not giving any spoilers away for people that haven't seen it.
The film's on Blu-ray. If we ain't seen it, then I'm like,
that was free online as well. Like,
yeah.
when this whole Corona thing started, they were just showing it online for free, like in HD.
Yeah, so I'm like, if you ain't seen it, that's on you.
Yeah. I mean,
Anyway.
were you talking about Bad Boys now? Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still.
What we're talking.
Yeah, I know you're talking about the crossover.
The whole thing. The
one
crossover.
I still want to say, still the highest grossing film of the year so far.
You know what is funny, right? Is that I know that obviously they're saying that cinemas are going to open up. I think it was July 4th, maybe.
Yeah,
July
4th. July 4th.
Yeah.
So July 4th, they want to open up cinemas, and obviously I know that Chris Nolan, like, yo, Tenant's coming out, like. It would be, what I'm gonna say is controversial and it's quite horrible, because I hope these events don't come to pass. But the sycophant in me who finds it amusing is that anyhow they open the cinemas, and then the second wave hits, and they have to shut it down again, and Tenet makes like I don't know, like a couple thousand because it was only out for a day. And then Bad Boys is still the highest grossing film, and everyone's one. And then they were like, oh, you know, Chris Nolan's like, I made Tenet, and then Bad Boys are like, Bad Boys, what you gonna do?
What you gonna do when it comes to me? But yeah, I always like to mention that because it's ironically the highest grossing film of the year. Purely because no other film got a chance to have a long stay in the cinema. That's people used to diss January openings. They will never again. Okay. Next up, you right there, mate?
Yeah, my camera just dropped.
Wait. Next up, Fallen 4 and Den of Thieves 2. These franchises I'm not familiar with. I'm guessing one's a game.
Wait.
No.
So
the Fallen one.
Fallen one's
Gerard
London has
Butler's.
fallen. Yeah, Gerard Butler was in an interview. He was talking about whatever the Fallen, the next one. London has fallen. London. Yeah, London has fallen.
I was thinking like Denzel Washington. Like they made 3 other ones after that.
No. Gerard Butler. He was talking about upcoming projects. He was talking about, they're doing another Olympus Has Fallen sequel. I didn't even know there was a third one. But
Angel.
There is.
I've never seen that.
Angel
Has Fallen.
Okay.
It's on Amazon at the moment. It's free for Prime users.
Okay.
So he was saying they're actively working on the 4th one of that and Den of Thieves 2. Thoughts on Den of Thieves 2 and another Olympus Has Fallen sequel?
I have a question. What's Den of Thieves?
Oh, it was a heist movie with 50 Cent, Gerard Butler, O'Shea Jackson Jr.
I'm out.
Well, wait, because you say that, but look, 50 Cent dies in it.
Oh, okay.
Right? He don't make it to the end. The main villain, he doesn't make it to the end. The only people who make it to the end of the film are Gerard Butler.
Is it when he makes it to the end? Is he like in his 300 attire?
No, he's like a cop in it. He looks like what happens to Leonidas if Leonidas survives. And then
lives for a million
no
years.
one else to fight.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the Den of Thieves one, I'm not sure where you can really take that.
I agree.
The Fallen series, I was kind of expecting them to make another one. It's been doing really well. Like it sells tickets. So
it's weirdly enough, I didn't think they were going to do a 4th one because I've watched the 3rd one. The way the 3rd one ends, it ends in such a way where it's a definitive ending, so to speak. Not definitive like, you know, oh my gosh, somebody dies. No, but it's an ending where it's like, okay, you know that kind of old action movie trope when someone's talking about retirement.
Yeah.
When they're talking about retirement, it means they ain't gonna make it.
Right. Yeah.
It's like his thing is he basically gets to a position where he's not gonna be the guy.
Right. Some other guy's gonna be that.
Some other guy's gonna be doing it. So maybe it's like he is the person who falls, and they do it so somebody else takes over. But I kind of like them to leave it where it is, because it's, obviously a film studio's job is to make money, and what makes money is, well, things that made money before. But it's like, sometimes you gotta learn to when to leave it alone.
Oh yeah,
right?
I mean, you're talking about movie studios, man. That's like a swear word. Leave it alone.
Especially in this day and age, everyone's looking to build a franchise. It's never let's just make an original product, and let's just like say Blade Runner. You never get something like a Blade Runner, around this time ever again, sort of thing, because you'll just get like stuff like, I don't know, Harry Potter 68 and like just recycled and regurgitated franchises and series.
But, I mean, Den of Thieves 2, the way it ends, it does kind of end in such a way that they kind of hint, it can happen again, kind of thing. The only real problem I have with it is like, fuck it, I'm gonna say it. So the end of the film, O'Shea Jackson gets away. Right, he's a criminal, and whatever happens, but he gets away. He survives the catastrophe and everything that happens. He gets away. He winds up in London, and when he speaks, he produces the worst London accent I have come across in a very, very, very long time. Now, granted, it's only for one scene, and he only has to speak maybe 2-3 lines of dialogue at the most. But I'm just like, you could have kept your regular accent for that one. You could have kept your regular voice. And it what makes it worse is for the whole film that, let's say the film is an hour and a half long, right? 90 minutes. And for 89 of them 90 minutes, you hear him speaking in his regular voice, right? And I'm like, the older he gets, the more he starts to sound like his dad. For those that don't know, O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s dad is Ice Cube. So think of what Ice Cube sounds like, and then have a younger voice of that. Bit by bit, he's slowly turning into his dad.
Right.
But, it's like, bruh, no, you're not Robert Downey Jr. You're not Anne Hathaway. You're not pulling off the accent.
Right. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just gotta. I guess it's, what's that thing when you
know your limitations?
Something of disbelief. You lower your
suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, that's the one. English is not with me today. As I said, out of the two films, I think I'll go for The Fallen, other than
it's just a bit of mindless action, isn't it? Fallen, like it's some weird. Everyone's trying to destroy the world, but it's like it's almost contained in all of these set pieces and action sequences. So.
I've never seen any of them.
Have you not?
Okay.
Not even the first one.
You know what it is? I saw half of the first one and I kind of stopped because I was like, Jack Bauer did this in season 5 of 24.
That's what I was going to say.
It was directed a lot better. It was more effective, and it was more hardcore because it was borderline 18 rated. And I was just like, nah, man. Like, if Keith Sutherland, you know what I mean? Keith Sutherland did all there needed to be done when it came to coming to the White House and taking names and faces.
Yeah.
So everything else for me with that subject matter just kind of failed in comparison. So it's like I don't know, unless they could resell it with really good action set pieces and stuff, then cool. But the action set pieces in these films are very generic. It's like popcorn fodder. It's not like a John Wick or do you know what I mean, where they've got actual guys that understand action direction. You know what I mean? If I was to, this would be totally shitting on that franchise. If you wanted to make me interested in that concept, make it a martial arts movie with proper martial artists and stuff and ninjas and shit, and I'm in. You know what I mean? But you've got to do something different with it, because they slam dunked it on a TV show, and now you're spending 200 million on a movie version of it, and you're failing to deliver. Hell, like, the only guy that could make that shit work is Michael Bay, in my eyes, because he's an action director that knows how to blow shit up efficiently, I might add. Even though his movies are shit, at least like you can look at it and be like, God damn, he just destroyed, like, do you know what I mean? Action movies these days just seemed watered down, and that's what I got from those films, man. Watered down action movies with too much CGI and like
that makes it 12A, right?
Yeah,
it makes it 12A, so kids can go see it.
Yeah, I just want more. This is the thing. This is why stuff like John Wick and even Extraction and you know what I mean, those kind of movies do so well, because they're made by guys that understand the fucking genre and they push it. You know what I mean? I'm not done. I'm not for the studio filler shit that they just like do a Liam Neeson where they're like, that's not really Liam Neeson, let's have 10 edits to make him jump over a fence, you know?
Oh yeah, that's Taken 3, right?
Yeah, like Taken 1 was great and Liam Neeson's great in it, but I did need to go for 3 sequels, man.
They said everything they need to say with the first one.
Yeah, it's just bad parenting, man.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna say one thing, right? And maybe this is, you can give me this, like, maybe this viewpoint is because I haven't watched 24, right?
What?
No,
I haven't watched 24 either.
There's a lot of people that haven't watched it. That's our generation thing. When we were 21, that's when.
You're right. You know what, Neil. Next time you're over, I'm giving you my season 1 of 24.
Right, but I'll point this out. Right, is that I watched Olympus Has Fallen.
Yeah,
I've watched all of them.
Okay.
And that first one is the best, and that first one is a damn good film. Like, for me, it's a good film, right? I can dispel, like, I'm like, look, if you're not casting, you know, yes, if you're not casting arguably Keanu Reeves or Jean-Claude Van Damme or somebody who you know could generally probably beat the shit out of any 10 people they come across on a regular day.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Then it is difficult. It is difficult to imagine that person, you know, protecting them. But within the realms of the movie, it works. He doesn't do anything super outlandish. Like, he just operates as a very trained agent.
Yeah.
He doesn't jump above his station. He's not like, oh, you're the best Secret Service agent out of all the Secret Service agents there are.
Right,
like, no,
gotcha.
a regular guy. It's very much like similar, reminding me of Die Hard, as in he is a regular person, but he's been trained to do what he does.
That's what Jack Bauer is. Jack Bauer is this normal guy who came back from a war, who's kind of got PTSD, but he runs this agency,
counterintelligence unit.
And he's not perfect guy.
He's very flawed.
Well, that's the thing, is like, you watch the film, and then within that only 2-hour window that we're given of the film, Gerard Butler's character, he, you know, we see him experience a piece of something bad at the very beginning of the film. He experiences something bad, which sets up where he is. And then he just goes through the film, and him going through the film isn't like, I'm the action man who must save the world. It's literally just like, okay, this shit happens, and you expect, you know, Secret Service men, cops, you know, EMTs, you expect when the shit hits the fan, you expect them to behave and react to that in the realm that they've been taught. So, you know, if there's an explosion, you expect an EMT to run towards it and immediately start helping people where they can. That's their job. You expect if something is happening, you expect a Secret Service agent, a police officer, you expect them to go running into it and be like, what's happening? Do this, I need to do this because that's what I've been trained to do. And that's what he does in the film. When he reaches a point of, okay, now you're being given a mission, that's when he starts to behave in a certain way. And I'm like, throughout that one film on its own, he does a damn good job. He does the job that he is supposed to do, and it looks great and it works great, and I'm totally for it. The second one is a bit far-fetched. You know, the third one is less far-fetched, but at the same time, way more far-fetched.
Right. Yeah.
Because like the second one is called London Has Fallen, and it, you know, essentially there's an attack on all the world leaders who all happen to be in London conference at a time. And it's like, other than the British Prime Minister dying, you know, shout out to Boris Johnson, right? Other than like that attack claiming the life of one person or like a couple of people, it then turns into the president is been kidnapped and he tries to rescue him.
That was
it doesn't unfold the way I expected it to, but it's still far-fetched.
That storyline was nicked from 24 as well. That was its the last season that Jack Bauer was in. That's literally the storyline. Literally the storyline.
You know what? I still to this day have problems with that last season of 24. It was great, except for one thing. Don't
say anything.
Oh man,
don't say.
But
anything.
I'd say one thing though, right? Is with the third film, it was sort of like a nice change of direction, because the first two films, he has to do the saving. Gerard Butler's character is running around doing the saving. The third film, he is the running. He's the one who's been, you know, it's like he's been accused of a crime. That's why it's called Angel Has Fallen, because the Secret Service agents are supposed to be known as the Angels.
24.
You know,
I'm sorry, man. It's literally what happens to Jack Bauer's character.
Exactly the same.
I can imagine it, but I mean, as well as the first film is directed, if I'm correct, is directed by
Anton Fuqua.
Yeah, and I'm like, that guy makes some very good movies. So
yeah,
I loved King Arthur. That was amazing.
Oh, shut up.
No, but for every King Arthur, there is a Training Day, and Training Day is amazing. So yeah,
and so was who's the guy he plays Mitch McCall? It used to be a TV series as well. This is one.
Oh,
the Equalizer.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. He did the Equalizer. Yeah, that's a sick move. But yeah, no, Neil, definitely check out 24, man.
Yeah,
I might have to check out 24 as well.
It's on the list. It's on the list, but obviously it's a very long list.
Yeah.
The main thing that you'll get from that show is that I mean, it's irrelevant now, but this was 2000 actually, going into 2001. It was the first time a black person was portrayed to be the president and a threat on his life because he was black. It was the first show of its kind to do that.
Oh, that's season 1.
Yeah, season 1. Yeah,
we gonna begin that shit tomorrow morning. But...
yeah, I mean, you just instantly piqued my interest.
Yeah. So basically.
Like,
basically,
black president, and people are trying to kill him because he's black. Oh,
yeah,
that been Obama's favorite show, boy.
that was 8 years ago, before Obama was even president, and it was that show was groundbreaking in terms of one, the technology in it. It will look old now. They all had like touch screens. As a touch screens, they're touching the screen. It was it was like Star Trek before. If Star Trek was like 10 years from now.
You remember them making a big thing on it? It used to come on Sky, right?
Yeah,
Sky.
Sky.
I do remember.
Because that's the thing.
Premiering 24.
The only reason I didn't watch it is because by the time it came into my wheelhouse of knowledge to watch,
it was on its way out.
It had already begun. It was like, I don't know if they were in season 3 or 4 or something, right? But it was by the time it reached my ears of I should watch this show, I'm like, what season are they on? That's somebody tells me to watch the show. I ask, what season are they on? Anyhow, you're above season 2. I'm like, yeah, I'm out.
It was only meant to go 3 seasons. Hold on,
how many did it go?
10, I think. Was
8.
8. Okay.
Hold on, the thing was supposed to last 3 seasons and went 8 seasons.
Yeah. That's a story in itself, but which we won't go into. But just keep that in mind if you reach, because season 2 is my personal favorite. His arc finishes in season 3, and it shows. But there's more of the story. Just watch it. But just remember, keep in mind that the season 3. And it will show. Yeah, that's when it ends. So if you stop watching at season 3, it won't matter because
But 5 is my favorite.
5 is one of my favorites as well.
5 is a personal favorite. That season, oh my god.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It will shock all of you.
Yeah, but
okay, sorry.
but yeah, here's the thing though, Neil. With 24, okay, so he's a senator. That's the first presidential candidate that they're trying to protect, basically, because if he wins the election, the world's going to change, basically, for obvious reasons.
Did not change
so
Obama
they need to save that. They need to save this guy, man. They need to save this guy. But at the same time, each episode is an hour long.
Yeah,
45 minutes, but with ads and trailers.
Right,
but
it's real time.
It literally takes place in real time. So
I'd heard that.
Yeah,
so
it's called 24 because each hour is another hour in the day. Yeah, that's right.
So events. There's multiple events happening, and so you have the main headquarters CTU. There's something happening there. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening there. You follow Jack Barrett. It's real. There's no other show will be able to copy its format because everyone was like, "Oh, you're just doing 24." It's a format that no one can copy. I think someone did try to do that, but it didn't work out very well. But it's very unique in that fashion. So
okay, cool.
We've literally just sold 24.
Yeah.
This is a film show. Trust me, it's a film podcast. Okay, I'm going to transition into the next topic, which is Disney trying to save Star Wars. Can it be saved? Do you want it saved? Did you like any of the episodes? Disney purchase forward, or go.
I'm going to let John speak on this one because Kylo Ren needs to do some venting and whatnot.
It's time to cry, isn't it?
It's time to cry.
Yeah. But no, I mean it's very easy to save Star Wars. Like it's one of those things that because the backing is so strong. There are even people that will blindly defend Disney's trilogy and say it's the best thing. Like the decisions that they made was really good. The subverting of expectations was a really fresh take of Star Wars and stuff. Like, and that's fair enough. Like some people do like it, but it's very easy to get the people that don't like it back on side. And it's just making simple decisions. It's not even a complex thing. Just make simple decisions. Get people that that are successful in other movie franchises, maybe like Jon Favreau, like Dave Filoni, who's also already been working in the Star Wars franchise for multiple years already, who's been working under Lucas with Rebels and some of Clone Wars as well, if I remember correctly. So it's like, if you get these type of people in, which they do look like they're doing Disney, they do look like they're getting those people, they're giving them more prominent roles, obviously after the success of The Mandalorian. And remember, everyone likes The Mandalorian, even when The Mandalorian came out a month before The Rise of Skywalker. So people were still able to like Star Wars content and still hate Star Wars content at the same time. So it's very easy to save. It's very easy to save.
That's hilarious. But I agree with you. I've not seen The Mandalorian yet, but
it's really good.
I think that's the only thing I can really hold on to now in terms of I'm not gonna lie, the last episode disappointed me. The more I saw it twice, and the more I thought about it, wow, they really crashed that plane when they tried to land it.
Yeah.
I mean, people try to say that about the prequels, but a thing with the prequels is that it was consistent. It was actually telling a linear storyline that went into the three films that people would say are the best films, and I think because it had that, it still did something new in those older in the prequel films, but also it was moving forward into it. There was a plan. That they all these films had a plan. What was evident with these Disney films is that let's throw this at it, JJ, and you've got to take this, go. And which he did a fairly good job with. I liked the Force Awakens. It's enjoyable. It's what I guess what core down to the core Star Wars actually is. It's an enjoyable sci-fi a space opera. Second film, they turn off left into a canyon, and you're jumping off that. Oh, I guess this is it. I just don't know what happened with that film. To people who do like The Last Jedi, good on you, but it's not a great film. It's not a great film, and
that's why I always say as well, it's not even about whether your opinions were subverted or not. Like, it just basic writing in The Last Jedi is just absolutely horrendous. Like, the way the First Order are chasing the last of the Resistance ships for that whole film. Like, when they basically, right at the start, they say, oh, should we just turn on the thrusters to catch them? And they're like, oh no, they're going to run out of fuel, so we'll just keep going at the same pace until they run out of fuel. And it's just like, you have more fuel than them. Yeah. Why? Like, why are you conserving your fuel? They're going to run out and you have more.
Whoa, wait. They actually say that in the movie?
They actually say that in The Last Jedi.
Oh, my
They
days.
actually say that.
I remember that you only watched it a couple times and you didn't like it any of them.
Well, hang on, Neil. You were with me when we watched Rise of Skywalker, right?
Yes, I was. You was ready to walk out about 12 minutes. Not 12. It was a little longer than 12, but you was ready to walk out before halfway through.
Was it the Leia incident?
Nope.
No, we're talking about Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, Rise of
Skywalker.
Again, was it the Leia incident?
No.
Actually, you know what? On the Leia thing, I didn't have a problem with the Leia thing. It was how it was executed.
Mm-hmm.
The way it was executed was rubbish. But the reason why I say that is because they've done that in other Star Wars media before. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, maybe not as long. They weren't in space as long as that. Mm-hmm. But they always did it in a more believable way where you're like, okay, that could happen. But the way it was executed in Last Jedi was just like, no.
It was quite juvenile. It was like this is how I feel about you fucking Star Wars.
Yeah, it was almost as like the DOP was. Why didn't the DOP challenge Rian Johnson on that camera shot?
Dude, they have LucasArts has a lore team that sits there and says, okay, we'll look at every scene and okay, does this fit the Star Wars lore that already exists? Does this fit everything? They've got that Holdo maneuver, they've got the Mary Poppins stuff, they've just got so much stuff where like none of this stuff, like I guess the Mary Poppins stuff, yeah, I admit like there is crazy force powers that has been used in other Star Wars media. But just stuff like that Holdo maneuver with the hyperspace crash.
It looks nice. It looks very pretty.
Very nice. But that would you cannot establish stuff like that when we have 6-7 movies where that could never happen. That's never ever happened. That's never even been thought about. And then the LucasArts lore team are just like, oh yeah, that'll be fine. It's cool. And then they have to explain that, oh, why can't we just do Holdo? Why can't we just Holdo them? It's like, oh no, we can't do that, like for some unknown reason. So it's just like, why didn't Holdo put a droid there?
Yeah, in my head, I'm
thinking,
like, is it because you say that there is a team that their whole job is the lore of Star Wars
to make sure everything makes sense, basically.
And you know, to put it out for people who may be slightly confused, when I say lore is LORE, not LAW, right? But it's like, did that team transfer across when Disney acquired Star Wars? Is that team still present? Because I can imagine like them sitting down, reading the script and being like, there's a lot of this that ain't running. And then, you know, Rian Johnson's like, it's my movie. Well, and then, I'm going to go talk to Catherine Kennedy. And then she's like, well, it's his movie. And then they're like, fuck this, I quit.
I think the only difference, the law team's still there. I think the only difference is that obviously they're now under Kathleen Kennedy instead of being under George Lucas. And from what I was always aware of, George Lucas liked to hear other people's ideas. He may not have always gone with their ideas, but he liked to listen to what people had to say, what people thought about like how characters would go. From what I know, Kathleen Kennedy isn't really like that. She really wanted Rey to be a front and center massive hero, just a massive hero in her sort of trilogy that she sort of had the rule over. And then she just allowed directors to make their own scripts for it as well, which is just, if you're doing it over the trilogy, it makes sense. But if you're saying, okay, there's the first movie, write your script, and then here's a second movie for you, different director, write your script, like you're not going to get things that completely add up. I think that law team was just ignored. I think.
I kind of feel like, I mean, personally, being like, I love Star Wars. Absolutely love it. I've loved it from the first moment I ever watched it. I know exactly when and where I was when I watched it for the first time. It was literally a Boxing Day. Must have been, I'm saying maybe between 94 and 96, right? And I just remember it was Boxing Day and I was just sitting there watching it. And even as crazy as it sounds, the first Star Wars I watched was Empire Strikes Back. I had not watched A New Hope. And, you know, I was like, hey, that's how it came to me. It was on ITV and I watched it and I was like, damn, this film is crazy. I was like, I'm intrigued. Like, I was like, who is this brother with this red glowing sword? And I was like, he carved the dude's hand. I was like, what? I'm in.
Yeah.
I've loved Star Wars since that day, and I've watched it through and through from that moment. And like, all of that being the love and all of that being aside, I'm like, I have to admit that as I've become an adult and, you know, decided that like I want filmmaking to be the realm that I within, right? And, you know, learning different things here and there, I have to give a lot of leeway to filmmakers, to directors and screenwriters and that, because when you're tasked with bringing something as big as Star Wars to life, to the big screen, it's like anything you get wrong is going to break somebody's heart.
Yeah, it's going to be magnified tenfold.
Right? Yeah. But I feel like Disney's handling of Star Wars is basically the negative side of the coin to the handling of the MCU. Right. It's like with the MCU, we all know that it's like, okay, Kevin Feige has this plan starts here, plan goes all the way over there. And it's like, everything must fit to the plan. You can make your own movie about your own characters, you can do what you want, but I need this, and this. And as long as I've got those points, you're golden. You can do what you want. And, you know, that's why even if it's a film that you ain't too fond of, i.e. Thor: The Dark World, right? It doesn't need to be great. Why doesn't it need to be great? Because it sets up things that become important later on. Right. It's, you know, it's, if, you know, good or bad, if Thor 2 doesn't work, if Thor 2 doesn't happen, well, Thor 3, there's an issue with that. Avengers Age of Ultron, there's an issue with that. You know, the Infinity Gauntlet itself, there's an issue with that, because these things are, they're little seeds that are sown. And I think, but with Star Wars, it was like, I imagine that Kathleen Kennedy probably had very great intentions. You know, George Lucas came to her and was like, look, selling to Disney, I ain't going to be part of it. But, you know, they let me handpick my successor. I'm picking you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And there, you know, there she is. She's doing what she's doing. And it's like, okay, so she wants her trilogy and she wants Rey to be the forefront. No problems there.
Mm-hmm.
She decides that she wants to get 3 of the 3 amazing directors, J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, Colin Trevorrow, yeah. Right, thank you, right? She decides that she wants those 3 to make the 3. Those, you guys are going to make these 3, you know, Star Wars films, make it happen. But then she just kind of leaves them to their own device. Or like, you know, Abrams makes the first one and it's like, okay, here's the plan. Here's where I'm kind of feeling that we should go in this road. And she's like, okay, cool. Ryan, you're up.
He goes,
and it's like, yeah. But at the same time, as much as it's like, there is part of me that will like never forgive him for it. But at the same time, there is a part of me that says, but you know what? Star Wars is older than he is. So maybe, you know, innovation, I've always have this phrase in my head, innovation doesn't come from old places. Right? And it's like, you do at times need innovation. Because if you think about it, A New Hope, Phantom Menace, and Force Awakens, right? All 3 of them, similar things happen in all 3 films, right? The old mentor dies, right? It happens in all 3 films. You kind of meet, like, it's like you all 3 of them films, like, it's too long to get into right now, but all 3 of those films have certain beats and there's certain points that the same thing happens in all 3.
The foreshadowing and mirroring.
Yeah, all of them, right? And the innovation does come in The Last Jedi. It's just, it's not what the majority of people wanted or enjoyed. Now, with any film that we watch, whether it's, you know, Avengers Infinity War, whether it's Star Wars, Indiana Jones, The Matrix, Harry Potter, no matter what it is, right? You should, unless it's, I mean, I'm going to take Harry Potter out of that, because if it's something that you already know what's supposed to happen, you should kind of like take whatever you expect to happen and kind of like put it in a little jar, because what you want to happen may be only what you want to happen. It might not be what the world wants to happen. You know, it might not be what everyone wants to happen. It might be what everyone wants to happen and it doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, these people were tasked with doing this film that you weren't. So what your expectations are, you know, because that's just the way of life. That's the way of filmmaking.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like, by all means, when you see something you don't like, you gotta voice that opinion.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
you can't go in with these expectations that
I will say
has to happen.
With the prequel trilogy, the story is definitely lackluster. But what I like about I'm a fan of the prequel trilogy.
Me as well.
Basically, the main reason is just the world building is just insanely good.
I wouldn't say it was the story. There was nothing wrong with the story of the prequels. There's nothing wrong with the world building.
The world building, I think, is probably the best out of any of the other films, really.
Yeah, totally agree. I think with the prequels, it was more the acting and the actual scripts themselves and the execution of everything. I honestly think Phantom Menace is an edit and a script rewrite away from being a great movie, if that makes sense. It has all the elements of a great movie in there. It's just script, like, if I was to analyze it, I think Obi-Wan needed to be fleshed out a lot more as a character rather than be yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, even though that was his purpose for that particular story.
That story is more about Qui-Gon.
Yeah, exactly. But for someone such as him, you wanted more. You know what I mean? I'm thinking back at the time as a fan going in and coming out. That was just my stance on that. Jake Lloyd's performance could have been saved in the edit. You know what I mean? There was nothing wrong with his performance. It was just an editor's job to cut out words like yippee and stuff like that. More of the rewrite, I reckon, would have been surrounding Jar Jar, making him an actual comedy character rather than being what he was.
Yeah, you never know, man. He might have been a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
But I'm not here to trash talk The Phantom Menace because I personally like that film.
One of my favorite films, The Phantom Menace. I can forgive the pacing basically because of the world building is just so good in that film, especially.
And you to this day, that's still one of the best saber fights I've seen.
Duel of Fates, the music with the saber fight is
perfect.
The choreography of the fight is just amazing.
John, did you watch the Ahsoka Darth Maul fight? Yeah.
Is that in Clone Wars? No, I haven't seen that.
You'll like that. You'll like that a lot. See,
the thing with Ahsoka is, I like Ahsoka and Rebels. I like Ahsoka and Rebels. I don't like her interactions with Darth Vader and Rebels. So I thought that was a bit silly. Because obviously, which leads into like sort of the second point of saving Disney. It's like this whole veil of the Force thing that they introduced in Rebels, where basically Ahsoka got like a free save due to it, was a bit silly to me. And I don't know if you guys know this, but in the Rise of Skywalker, basically the dark ray actually comes out of that veil of the Force mirror. Like they sort of brush it off as a vision,
right?
But like this might lead to like this sort of saving of Star Wars, where they just retcon the whole thing and say, yeah, it's just like someone goes in the veil of the Force, resets the whole thing. Rey doesn't get born. Palpatine just dies on the Death Star in Episode 6, and they just get to make their own Episode 7 again, sort of thing. It's just, The whole veil of the Force thing is just, it's a bit silly.
It goes exactly back to what we discussed earlier when I like if you make a decision and if you stuck to your decision enough that you put millions, hundreds of millions of dollars behind that decision, right? Just stick to it. Ride the wave. Oh, it was poorly received. Okay, ride the wave and then do better on the next one. But all of this, like, I'm just gonna retcon it. Like what's wrong with you? Why? You know? Like, you don't reboot, right? Unless you have no choice, right? Sometimes you have no choice, but when you have a choice, don't reboot. Just like, okay, we did this, it didn't work out the way we wanted to, so we're gonna
move forward.
We're gonna ride that wave, because you know what? You ride the wave, and you then get to embrace something you made that might not have been well received in this one time, but then come a decade later when you've made up for it, then people are now, you know what? I quite like it. I mean, I know that when Phantom Menace came out, it was not as well received as it could have been, right? And it was very, very poorly received. I mean, I'm to the point, Sash, I've seen the photograph of you and the caption says, after I watched Phantom Menace, right? And I'm like, you know, people had some strong opinions and they were not good ones. However, with everything that has come now since then, people are like, yeah, I love Phantom Menace. And I'm like, you know, because they didn't say, oh, we're going to course correct and we're going to reboot. Because they were like, nah, you know what? I made my bed. I'm going to lie in it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Wake up and do it again. Because they did that, now there's a stronger appreciation for it. Like,
I think the thing is with the prequels, I mean, when Lucas expanded it with the Clone Wars series, it kind of answered a lot of questions that I probably had and wanted from those movies, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that series is pretty good. Me and John were talking about it before the podcast came on. There are bits in it that is like, man, why didn't they make this before Revenge of the Sith? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get a lot of that in that series, but there are episodes in it that are better than the movies. And there are episodes in it that are probably bad, like really bad. But at the same time, like, it's a good series. But what it did, it just made a lot of people appreciate that era of Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know? Which I think a lot of people did. A lot of people don't appreciate the prequels, you know what I mean? Especially my age. But, you know, give that series a chance. You kind of like look at it from a brand new perspective and you're just kind of like, oh, okay. And I think that thing Dave Filoni said recently about Qui-Gon and the Duel of the Fates. And shit,
Oh yeah, that was an inspired talk, that one.
Yeah, that was like a mic drop, because it kind of like made you appreciate that film a little bit more, you know? And I will say, though, that ideology was kind of poorly executed on George's behalf. But now that I've heard it, it makes sense. You know what I mean? It makes so much sense, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I actually think the only way to fix Star Wars is to make Episode 8.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
In my closing thing of it, the only thing I think that they should do to really quote unquote save Star Wars is, I'm like, firstly, Star Wars doesn't need saving, right? A few bad things doesn't take away from all the 40 plus years of good, right? At the end of the day, you know, you look at it like when you plant fruit and veg, not every seed that grows is gonna grow into the perfect fruit, right? Some are gonna grow little bitty ugly shits, and some are gonna be like, you know, great, massive, succulent, perfect. Well, but you take the good with the bad. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? You've done the Skywalker saga. It's done now, right? Love it, hate it, whatever. It's done. It's finished. You can either go forward, and this is what everything that happens after them, or you can go backwards. I would prefer that they go forward, simply because their plans for what they decided they wanted to do going backwards, I'm like, yeah, like, if you think you lost a lot of fans with The Last Jedi, prepare yourselves. Like that auditorium's gonna need the reverse of social distancing. You're gonna need the opposite of social distancing, because I'm like, you know, you've got people like this rich history to go on. Darth, you know, not Darth Revan, Darth Bane, Thrawn, like, there is so much to go on that you could have, that you could just say, you know what, let's take these books, make them films. Let's take these comics, make them films or TV shows or whatever. You don't have to, you ain't got to do no hard work.
Well, Kathleen Kennedy did come out and say that she's working with no external content for Star Wars films because they don't have any. After cutting out all,
I remember that.
And yeah. So I mean, like, they have it there. It's just that they're too blind to see it at the minute. So I mean, that's all they need to do is just look at all of the content that Star Wars has.
Yeah. Because I mean, what I would like them to do, like, if it was like, okay, we're stuck on what they have, right? What has been made is what we have. There's no changing it. It is what it is. And they're like, okay, so what would you do? And I'm like, okay, can I go back in time? No. Like, nothing before Phantom Menace. It was like Phantom Menace, everything before and everything after. That's where you're at. I said, all right, cool. You know what? Here, what I want you to give me. Give me a Kylo Ren TV show in the same vein that you gave me with The Mandalorian. Give me I want to know what happened to him before him and Luke broke down, and I want to know all the years after that. right? Give me a length of time where I can see him learning to be a Jedi, because I think there's a comic book of it where it's like the rise of Kylo
Marvel
Ren.
comic.
And there's a Marvel comic, and it shows everything he did before becoming Kylo Ren. Cool. Give me that live action. Then do the same thing of whatever happens after he turns into Kylo Ren and he's doing whatever he's doing. You give me them shows, give me 4 seasons. I'm good. 2 seasons before he turns, 2 seasons after he turns, 10 episodes each. I'm good.
I'll be happy with that, to be honest.
Right?
Well, yeah. I've got nothing more to say on Star Wars at this point. I guess whatever news comes out about it, I'm sure we'll be equally enraged about. I'm going to move things forward now. Sony Pictures Animation. President Christine Belson, I don't know who that is, talks more on adult animation coming from in the future. When you say adult animation, what do you think that means?
Not porn.
Cartoon porn, man, it's coming. No, it's obviously just more, maybe stuff more more mature, cartoon movies.
So they had a big success with Spider-Verse, and obviously there's stuff like Sausage Party that also did well. They've looked at the scope for CGI animation, and they've come to the conclusion that the kid market is way oversaturated. Obviously, they try to play the game with like Smurfs and the Emoji Movie and Angry Birds and stuff like that. Some of them, with their animation studio, they've had hit and misses. You know what I mean? It's never been consistent. But every time they've invested in something that has been more adult orientated, they've always had a hit. So they're kind of looking to focusing on that and have that be their niche, if that makes sense. Because of the success of Spider-Verse, because of the success of Sausage Party, they're just like, maybe this could be the future in where they could go, which kind of opens up the doors for animators and filmmakers that playing that field to have a forum to go to. And because there's a lot of adult cartoons that are out there nowadays that everyone watches on Adult Swim and stuff, and they're all doing fine. And I think it's nothing but a win, to be honest. I mean, yeah.
I mean, if it's the TV world you're talking about, then that's an easy win. When it comes to film, I think the last, but besides Sausage Party, the last one I would say is South Park. Was the big winner. I can't think of any other adult animation films, but it's going to be, that's an interesting realm to go into. It's definitely not. It's definitely challenging.
Sorry to cut you, Joe. I think what it is it's not that they're not making quote unquote adult animation films. I think what it is they're not receiving this, like, the big push. Like Sausage Party and South Park were probably the only two that really got a heavy push as like, this is not catered for children. Because there are a lot of animated films that they make them, like even Pixar and things do it. They make it's dressed up as a kid's film, but there are such serious like adult moments and adult situations within them. Right? Like, I mean, you look at something like Up or Toy Story 3, like those are children's movies. They're not for children. But I mean, there's things like with the DC animated movies, things like Justice League Apocalypse War. Like, that's not really for children. I mean, it's got comic book characters in it, but it's not really for children. Because, I mean, like, there's, F-bombs in it and whatnot, and things like The Dark Knight Rises.
Sorry, I forgot one. Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah, Mask of the Phantasm. The Batman, The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1 and 2, they're not for children. Like, they're based on, like, quite serious materials. But I think it's... Sony, well, from their announcement, they're trying to reach into the thing of saying like, okay, not only is this not for children, we're not even going to try and dress it up and say that it's for children. I am all for it because I think we're long past that moment where you looked at something animated and just assumed it was for children. I think we're past that now.
Way past that. Ever since Mega Entertainment in 1990, we were heading in that direction.
I mean, you know what? That moment in time when people thought, if it was a cartoon, it was just for kids, that served me very well during my child and teenage years, because when manga was kicking it on Bravo and on Channel 4, I got to watch everything just because of the fact that it was like, oh, this is a kid's thing. So it was like, yeah, nobody's gonna question nothing. And then when there was F-bombs and like, sex and nudity and like murder, like nobody said nothing. It was like, oh, it's just kids. That's not red blood, it's ketchup. And I was like, that motherfucker's heart is in another man's hands. That's blood. Sorry, carry on.
I was just gonna ask, what do you guys think that Sony would do? Would they make original things, or would they use their IPs, their existing IPs for animated movies?
Both.
Yeah,
because I know, like, I guess.
I think they test the waters with stuff that they already have.
Ghostbusters.
I mean, hope one can hope.
They did talk about doing like a new cartoon series. But if they did like a film version in the same vein as like a Spider-Verse, like you have the movie and you have the cartoon version, but you can watch those separate as two separate entities, but have the cartoon like the 1984 film in that vein. You still have Venkman, you still have all the even Harold Ramis, you still have
Egon.
Egon. You could have Egon in that world and explain his backstory maybe or something. I don't know, but not his backstory, but what happened to him and leading up to this third film.
You know what they could do? Like, I mean, this is just literally just riffing off what you're saying, Joe. They could make the new Ghostbusters movies, Ghostbusters Afterlife, right? That's what it's called. Hey, they can make a Ghostbusters movie that sits in between them, that explains everything that took place after Ghostbusters 2. That not even everything. Maybe it's set a couple years after that, and we discover what happened then. Maybe it's one last hoorah, and at the end of it, they separate, and it's like, okay, hey, Egon, what you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna take my daughter and
live in the country.
I've got a daughter and a grandson. I'm gonna go live in the sticks for a while, and they can come visit me when they want. And Venkman, what you gonna do? I'm gonna do stand-up comedy, man.
Yeah. I sorry, go on, Sach. You haven't said anything on this.
No, I did at the start.
Did you? Oh yeah, you did actually. Yeah. Sorry. This old man does go on.
What I would like is, do you know what I think? What studios seem to forget is the market isn't as narrow as they believe it is anymore, right? You've got streaming services, you've got straight to home media services, as well as your films that are coming out in traditional releases, cinemas and whatnot. And what you can do is you can bridge the gap. You can, like, if I imagine, like, think of it like sticking with Ghostbusters. So Dan Aykroyd, what was it? He had Ghostbusters 3, and it was like Ghostbusters Goes to Hell.
Right. Yeah, I think that was part of the video game as well, was it not?
Yeah, I think they used it basically for the video game, right? Now, I'm sure that there is a large number of people who have not played that video game. But even if there isn't, even if everybody's played the video game, one way you can do it is like you can say, hey, all right, here's Ghostbusters 3. Here's the Ghostbusters 3 that we wanted to do. Maybe you can make it your standalone movie.
Has anyone here played the video game other than me?
No, I haven't, unfortunately.
I haven't.
Right?
Be honest with you, that game is good.
Yeah, because I've heard nothing but good things from
You're a
people.
huge fan. Trust me, that's the one, man. That's the Ghostbusters 3 everyone should have had, man. Because they literally took the script that they wrote in the 90s for Ghostbusters 3 and just made it into the video game. Obviously, when they originally started making that game, the proof of concept was adapting stuff from the first movie, like Marshmallow Man and all of that shit. So what they did, they basically took that concept and have that as the tutorial for the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But they give a reason why Marshmallow Man's back, and they give a reason why they have to go to the library and that kind of stuff. So the first 3 levels is basically locations from the original movie, but with a reason why, if that makes sense. And you even have a Vigo the Carpathian cameo in there, because they actually have the
painting.
They took the painting and they put it in a firehouse, and like he's actually there. The guy actually voices the voice.
No way.
And he's like, yeah, all kinds of stuff, man. And like, there's so many little Easter eggs, like, because you're like a new recruit, and you don't have a voice. Basically, you're just a new guy. And there's a hint to Extreme Ghostbusters, the cartoon show that came out late 90s, early 2000s. They're like, you better scrub up better than the other guys, and they have like some of the guys' stuff just left, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, just kind of like, you better be better than these other guys. They were useless.
Was that Ghostbusters Extreme or something?
Yeah, Extreme Ghostbusters. Yeah, they kind of like tip the hat, and like after the bits that do nods to the original movie, they literally go off in its own direction, which is the story for Ghostbusters 3. And see that bit where Gozer turns around to them and says, choose the form of the traveler, the traveler's come, etc. And then he picks Marshmallow Man. You see what they look like without the form.
Right. So
and they're fucked up, mate. They are fucking demons, mate. But yeah, that's when they go into that hell dimension kind of thing, because that's like the last level of the game.
Okay. Well, yeah, in something like that, you take it's like a film studio. I mean, obviously, I don't run a film studio. I have no idea what they're dealing with budget wise and what investors say they want and don't want and all of that. But to me, I'm like, if you're a film studio and you've got all of these IPs, chances are you have many vaults and files of scripts that you just kind of were like, you bought it, you thought it would be great, and then maybe you got cold feet on it. Animation gives you license to just test these out, see if they work. Because if they do work, because I mean, obviously, animation costs money, but it gives you license to make these films, see if they work, and if they work, maybe you can make a live action version, maybe you can make a live action sequel, maybe you can invest in it and be like, you know what, fuck it, all right, we've made this animated film and it blew up, we're gonna make another one, and you don't have to worry about certain things like, okay, this actor's, like, oh, did this actor do something? Oh, yeah, they beat someone up or something, or
right. It gives them an easier access to I've lost all my English today, so carry on.
Yeah, but it puts you in a position where you can either, if you getting rid of somebody isn't going to be the end of the world.
Yeah.
All you have to do is recast the voice. You don't now have to recast what the character looks like. You don't have to give an explanation for why the character's not in the film anymore. Like, you can keep the character there, or you can lose them. You can test the waters. You can take IP that will be far too expensive to make as a live action film and make it as an animated film. Like, imagine if they applied that logic to something like, I don't know, Dune, right?
Dune. Okay,
They're making a live action Dune, right? Now, the first one they made was like, this marvel of what people saw, and the second one is probably going to be the same thing, right? Whether it's well received or not is another story, but they're doing that. Now, you take a story that is set in the future or in space, and it's like, okay, we don't have the money to make it the way it's been described. I'll be like, well, bruh, have you got a computer? Yeah. You got somebody who knows what he's doing with it? Yeah. Make the film.
Right.
You know, and on top of that, I feel like as much money as it will take to make it, you're saving money, because guess what? You don't have to go on locations. All you need to do is get your cast to come in to a studio, sit down. Maybe they got to act out some things to make sure that, you know, you sound like you're running, or you sound like you're fighting, or you sound like you're doing something else. But really and truly, you're just in a studio recording. Things like this, like the current climate we're living in, the pandemic. Hey, guess what you can do when you're recording an animated film? Social distancing. You ain't got to worry about whether your cast have to touch and kiss and hug, and, you know, none of that matters anymore. You have, you're going to sit in the left corner, you're going to sit in the right corner, set your microphones up, have at it.
Yeah. I mean,
tell the animators they can work from home.
Yeah. I think a film animation costs probably like 5 to 10 times less than an animated film costs 5 to 10 times less than a live action film production. Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah.
I mean, what I really want to see is, I want to see film studios look at animated films in the same light that they look at live action ones, and say, you know what, we can make a horror film animated. It doesn't have to be live action. We can make a horror animated film. You know, you can make a romance film. You can make a coming of age drama. You can do whatever you want. But, you know, just invest the time and the effort in it. You know, you always have to invest money, but the time and the effort you give to an animated film can work wonders.
Yeah, but well, all well and said. I think that's going to be, if this situation goes on for much longer, animation is probably going to be the only thing you're going to see at some point, because no one's going to be able to film in close quarters. It's gonna be an interesting time. It's an interesting time we're living through.
Did you guys hear about the kids? I do say kids. They made a film using Zoom.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Yeah, they made a film using Zoom. Not only did they make a full feature using Zoom, they actually sold it to the movie theaters.
Oh wow!
To play, not through a studio, to the movie theaters
directly.
To play directly. And it became the #1 movie playing in America. I think it was this month.
Right.
This month, I think it was. So yeah.
I mean, a lot of studios will have their eye on them. When this is all over. So keep an eye on these guys. We might need them later. Yes, I think this whole pandemic has made everyone more creative, creative thinking in terms of how to put something together and put it out there and get a return on it. It's definitely got the creative juices going in a lot of studios and people. So yeah, I guess watch this space with that. Okay, moving on.
Margot Robbie.
Okay. You go.
And her Birds of Prey team have just signed up for the next Pirates of the Caribbean. This is Jack Sparrow-less Pirates of the Caribbean, I might add. The Birds of Prey team are taking over.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out.
I don't know what you can do like that you haven't already done with Pirates of the Caribbean now. It's had a decent run. It's had a good run.
Yeah,
you know what?
Yeah,
I think with the Jack Sparrow character, I think there's always room for pirate movies. No one else is making them. Just put them in another situation like James Bond. As long as Johnny Depp comes back, that's
that's my main point. He is Pirates of the Caribbean. You would have to change the music. You would have to change the way it looks. Yeah, it's everything is the main identifier is Johnny Depp. The second identifier is the music. Third identifier, what's his name? Legolas.
Jerry, Orlando Bloom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, him and Elizabeth Swann or Keira Knightley, they were decently popular characters as well. Especially in their relationship. Like I know a lot of fandoms love to ship their favorite characters, and obviously they got their ship like from the beginning. So yeah, they like, obviously Johnny Depp was the big draw, but they still were pretty popular characters as well.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna go, man. And Birds of Prey is not the best thing to bounce off.
Do you think we're gonna get a ship of pirate women?
Yeah, I mean,
to be fair, in their defense, they're also the writer of Bumblebee. The woman was also the writer of Bumblebee, which is a great movie.
I've not seen that.
Bumblebee's
the thing
good.
is with Birds of Prey was
it's actually Transformers.
I saw it recently. Now, if I pretended that I didn't know who the Birds of Prey were and who Black Mask was, and just had it as a normal Harlequin movie with brand new characters and stuff, you could have had something special, and with that script, it worked. But unfortunately, I do know who the Birds of Prey are. I do know who Black Mask is, and because it's again that case of using those characters that people know and love and always want to see them on the big screen. Yeah, they did a bad job with that, but maybe they're writing suits pirates because they've got a free canvas to do whatever they want. It's not based on anything other than a theme park ride, so they're not going to fuck off anyone. The only thing that I can see a car crash is the Jack Sparrow situation, because there ain't no pirates without depth for me.
I think that's for most people,
and I feel a lot of people will feel that way. Yeah.
So you know,
it's yeah.
Well, one thing I was going to say, right, is that I recently, as of last year I went to Disney, right, and I went on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Jack Sparrow is still there, right?
Okay.
The ride. Put it this way: the ride, as it was when it was originally created, was obviously it was its own thing. They revamped the ride after the success of the films. So the ride is now a ride from the films, right? You lost like the Aztec gold coins that were in the first one, and there Barbossa's there, Jack Sparrow was there. They have his voice in there, right? So like, if they're deciding to revamp, like, bro, you gonna revamp the whole ride again, right?
Disney will fucking do it. I tell you that.
Yeah, but the joke of it is this. The joke of it is this as well. Is now that Johnny Depp has essentially in the eyes of the law, he's been vindicated, because we now know that he wasn't the terrible person that he was made out to be. I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity to just get him back. It's a role he loves. You know, he loves doing it for his kids. So it's not exactly like, you know, I mean, yeah, he might harbor some ill feelings and might be like, nah, you know what? You could have stood by me and you didn't. You just took the franchise away from me because this lady accused me of whatever. He could, I mean, but for the most part, I'm sure that if they were like, okay, look, we're sorry, here's 25 extra million. You know, like, I'm sure that like he'd be like, "Hi, forgiven." But you know, this whole thing of like taking Margot Robbie and her team, to me, I think it's a good and a bad idea, because like it or not like Birds of Prey, because you know, for the most part, a lot of people get looked at as from their last project. Like, even if, Bumblebee was a brilliant film, but you get looked at from the last project you presented. And Birds of Prey, thing is, like, very, very much like what Sacha said, if you know the characters and you know everything that's supposed to happen, you know who they are and what's going on, it's pretty poor. However, if you don't know, then it's a very enjoyable film. You can sit there and watch it and you'll be like, oh, okay, I like it, And I think that level of enjoyment could transist quite well to the Pirates of the Caribbean, as long as they don't attempt to kind of either make Margot Robbie basically like a female Jack Sparrow,
right.
Like make her own character, not the female Jack Sparrow, right? Just make her, she's her own character. She has her own story, her own things, basically make a good version of Cutthroat Island. Okay?
Yeah.
And you'll be cool. You'll be good. You can continue on from that point. The whole thing of, Jack Sparrow, maybe, you make this film, there's no Jack Sparrow, you test the waters. If the waters don't float the way if the waves crash in a way you don't like, maybe then you bring Johnny Depp back as a way of, you unite the two. You bring them both in together. You don't, like, the whole thing of rebooting or things like, are you going to attempt to, like, not mention anything that happened with Jack Sparrow so that you're like, oh, the film, none of it happened, none of it existed. And then, if it flops or fails, then what? What do you do then?
Count your chickens. I don't know, man. I think I saw the last Pirates of the Caribbean film, and it was fairly entertaining. But they left it on a cliffhanger because it had like a end credit scene with specific characters from specific films, and I don't know how they're going to write their way out of that. But good luck. Good luck with that, man. But yeah, that's all I got to say on it. Anybody else? No? Everyone done? Okay, we're moving on. Okay, so the next is Chicken Run, or the sequel to Chicken Run. Apparently, there is going to be one, and with Mel Gibson, South Park Mel Gibson, and that's. I don't know if that is it too late for Chicken. Who remembers Chicken Run? That's not. I'm not saying it's a bad film. I'm just saying it's like hey, we're let's say
it's like 20. It's like 20 years too late, right? I mean, here's the thing. Like, okay, so Mel Gibson's not in it. They're doing it without Mel Gibson, probably because he's back in movie jail again. Who knows? But
I don't think he is.
Who knows? You can never tell with him, man. But point being is, if you're going to have his character and not have him voice it, you best have a good voice actor that can imitate that voice.
Or don't do it.
Or just don't do it. I mean, it's 20 years later, man. But they're trying to say that this story happens the next day. And I'm like, couldn't you have done this 20 years ago? When it was relevant?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't see it being massively relevant now. I don't like. I mean, people will probably see it, but I agree with you. I think it's just way too late to bring a Chicken Run 2, a direct sequel.
Yeah,
seems a bit weird to me.
And you're gonna start it the next day?
Yeah, the next day.
Yeah, I know, it's weird.
Like, this isn't like, The Thing where, they were like, okay, this film is gonna end and it's gonna like lead directly into the beginning of John Carpenter's The Thing. I was like, okay.
Was that thing any good? Was that film any good?
It's competent. It's not a great film.
You know what it is? It's not a great film, especially being, as I've said before, it's coming off the heels of John Carpenter's fucking masterpiece.
Right. Okay.
So, but if it was the first one to come out, then it would be good enough. Like if you look at it, it's a prequel to John Carpenter's one.
Right.
And
okay.
if you look at it as such, like, okay, if you
It
watch
works.
them both back to back, it works. It happens in such a way that you're not like, well, that doesn't make sense in comparison to what happens in John Carpenter's. You're like, all right, you guys covered your bases and you did a good enough job.
You know what? We've totally taken it away from Chicken Run, but you know what? John Carpenter mentioned a few years back about the sequel. He tried to do a sequel to The Thing twice before he gave up directing to sit on his couch and play video games. What was it? Back in the 90s, he almost made it with Kurt Russell again. Basically, the two guys, it's him and the black guy are at the end.
Yeah, Keith
David. One of them have got it. They were gonna do that and have you guess who has it, and it was literally about them two trying to make it to civilization.
Right.
But yeah, and then they bump into some other characters along the way and shit. And then there was another one. There was another one where they were going to do it where this team comes and they find their remains, basically,
right,
kind of thing. And obviously the thing's there. And
I think that would have been. I think that would have been good.
Still potentially.
It would have been better than the damn comics that they made.
Oh, what? There's comics.
Well, I did. Do you know what? The Thing has like multiple different comic books, which all are like sequels to the John Carpenter film. And it's like, there's one of them where they get rescued in the Antarctic and they wind up in like the jungle, and the Thing just like, it takes over like the people that have rescued them. And it's like, it's just batshit crazy. Like there's more than one version. There's like 2 or 3 different versions, but they're all crazy.
Right. Yeah. The Thing's another thing that that's still in the zeitgeist to a particular degree. That's something that could be made into a sequel. But Chicken Run, whew.
Quick looks. I feel like, I don't know, like
I think it'll
what
do well.
studio owns it?
No, Odd Man Animation own it.
Right.
Okay.
So
maybe they just
Wallace and
wrapped up
Gromit.
ideas.
Wallace and Gromit guys, they own it. I mean, look, I think potentially, you know what? I think this kind of movie would do well, to be quite honest, because kids with animation watch anything. Trust me, I worked in a cinema for fucking almost 20 years. They watch anything, and most parents, they just want to shut the kids up. And it's the kind of film with everyone will be like, oh yeah, they made another one of them. It's perfect for that kind of thing. Should they make a sequel? I don't know where they could take the story, to be honest, because wasn't the whole point that they were trying to get away and not get killed and shit? And like, I don't know, man. Maybe they're crossing the road. Maybe it's a whole story of them trying to figure out how to cross the road.
Good setup. Very good setup. I admire that.
There we go. I've got the concept right there. They made it out of the pen. They now got across the road. You got like fucking trucks and stuff, and they're like, "Shit, that's fucking crazy." Oh wait, it's safe, guys. I don't know.
All right. I'm going to take it to the last topic now, and that's Atlantis will be directed, and I'm not sure if written by Jurassic World's Colin Trevorrow. And Atlantis, what version of Atlantis will this be?
Apparently it's going to be the Atlantis of the Sands. I was looking at this story before.
Right.
It's actually being written by Dante Harper, who wrote The Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I like The Edge of Tomorrow. It's not it's not an original screenplay. It's adapted from a manga, but yeah, it was a good script though.
I really wish it was called All You Need Is Kill.
All You Need Is Kill. Yeah,
That would who would not go to see that?
Yeah, exactly. It just sounds so like the English sounds broken enough just to be so big. But now, yeah, like All You Need Is Kill is a way better title than Edge of Tomorrow. But
Yeah.
I really liked what they did with that script. Like
It's great.
They took all of the key elements from that manga, but then they made it. They westernized it pretty well. So yeah, I'm interested to see this. Obviously, I'd rather see an underworld Atlantis than a Atlantis of the Sands. I think Atlantis of the Sands is a bit. They've just done that so many times, basically, like the Arabian desert sort of setting and all that stuff. So it's easier. It's easier.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about it. But the thing I like about Colin Trevorrow is that he's got a very. I mean, he's only done two films. He's only made 2 films, and I want to see what scope he has, because his Star Wars idea, I think he got shafted.
The Jewel of Fates.
Yeah, he got shafted with that, and I really do want to see if he is again, because what he did with Jurassic World is what JJ did with Star Wars. It was a subtle kind of reboot, very enjoyable. Not as good as the first, but it got to a point where you could introduce a new audience to Jurassic Park again, and with Atlantis, I hope this will be able to give him more of a scope on doing something that he actually really wants to do, and not get shafted, so to speak, on the idea of I don't know what the story will be about per se, but I think he's got a good eye. I don't think a lot of people would agree with me, but then again, he's only done 2 films, and
right.
So what was the third one?
He did one that. Hang on, wait. Give me a second.
I know the first one he did, and then the third one was going to be Star Wars, and then he got shafted out of that, and okay, so his third one would be the Jurassic World Dominion, and so depending how that goes, I think that will swing more opportunity for him to.
Book of Henry and Safety Not Guaranteed.
Book of Henry. It's Book of Henry.
Safety Not Guaranteed. That's his debut
first
film.
Yeah.
Which got him the Jurassic World gig, and Book of Henry was supposed to be his second film, but obviously he got Jurassic World, so he did that straight after Jurassic World. And
Book of Henry was the guy who did the second Jurassic World film. I can't remember that guy's name. It's one of Del Guillermo's guys. God, it's on my shelf, but I can't. But yeah. What was he did actually do? You're right. He did do 3 films. No, he did. Was it Book of? No, it wasn't the Book of Henry. There was a third film that he did. Second film that he did.
I just told you his films. I've got it in front of me.
So what was his second film?
So writer, director. Okay, so his first film was Safety Not Guaranteed. His second film was Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Then he did the Book of Henry.
Yeah, that was the film that tanked, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. I was thinking of a different film. Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, Fallen Kingdom was by AJ Bayona.
Yes.
And he has done before that. He's more horror movie guy.
Yeah, he was Guillermo del Toro's.
So he did a Monster Calls.
Yes, Monster Calls. Yeah.
He did The Impossible.
That was good as well. Yeah,
did
that was
The Orphanage.
Didn't see.
Oh,
that.
he did The Orphanage. Yeah, The Orphanage is all right.
Did a lot of foreign films. I didn't like Fallen Kingdom. I thought it was a piece of shit. Oh damn, he's doing the Lord of the Rings TV show. He's doing the first 2 episodes. He's doing a pilot. Interesting. Okay.
Okay. Well, AJ Bayona is going somewhere. Okay. With this with this Atlantis thing, I would guess that this is not a high. Seems like a what do you call it? A project that he wants to do after go straight into it after Jurassic World, after that ends. But again, I think whatever happens between then and when Jurassic World comes out, I think will dictate what he does next after that. If they're trying to turn this Atlantis, if they're trying to turn it into a franchise, then yeah, I think Jurassic World will be the book that they drive to. So, can this guy direct? Like any other director that's only done a few films, it's the box office return will be the dictator on whether he does anything big again. So yeah, so he has to knock this because he's got Sam Neill in this next Jurassic Park film. He's got all the old cast returning. So he needs to knock that out of the park. It needs to be as good as at least the first Jurassic World film, or close to the first Jurassic Park film. Hopefully,
has the Jurassic Park films been making a profit?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, at one point it was the fourth highest grossing film in the world.
I don't know. Sorry, not Jurassic Park. I mean the Jurassic World ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
first one, Jurassic World, was like $1 billion plus.
Yeah, okay. It's 2.5. 2.5.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's close to Avengers and Star Wars and all of those. I think it's at number 13 now, but so many films have come since then. But yeah, they've made profit. So he's in good shoes. Anything? Does anyone else want to give their 5 cents?
Just heard a report, just seeing the report again. Basically says that the Atlantis will be set on a lost continent in the Indian Ocean between Africa, India, and Oceania, and it will have a multicultural civilization with its own advanced technology. So yeah, as you're saying, they might be trying to make this a sort of franchise-esque film.
Yeah, and I think that's going to go on, depending on how this Jurassic World is received, that's going to dictate his future in these types of feature films for a while. Hopefully he's not an M. Night Shyamalan. Not that he is, but not that M. Night Shyamalan is bad, but he had his moment where he dipped, and he's only made it back now. So yeah, we'll I guess we'll see. Sach, anything to add, or Neil?
No, I'm good.
I think because it's a project that I know literally nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought when I got the notes for today, I kind of looked at it and I thought, okay, Atlantis. Other than Aquaman, you haven't seen Atlantis as Atlantis in I don't even know since when. But the last time I remember seeing Atlantis was in the Disney animated movie Atlantis.
Right? Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, it's the perfect opportunity to develop something fresh.
Right. Yeah.
It is, and I mean, run with it. It's something fresh. It's new. Put your best foot forward, kind of thing. Yeah. Go ahead, do what you need to do.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, with that, I will bring the show to a conclusion because we're approaching 3 hours once again. So yeah, does anyone have anything to plug?
Yeah, I might just plug my channel. Obviously, Kylo Ren channel. If you search Kylo Ren, you'll find me. I've got a picture of Kylo Ren crying. So yeah, I'm the only one. There's loads of people called Kylo Ren, but I'm the only one with a crying Kylo Ren. So
right.
Where am I finding that?
Kylo Ren. If you on YouTube.
I'll put it in the description as well of the podcast so people can find you.
Thank you.
What about you, Neil? Anything to plug?
Nope, I got nothing to plug.
Okay, all right. Satch?
Find me on SashMan3 on Twitter, and check out my short films on YouTube.
Okay, I do have something to plug. This is for my cousin. She has a new website called Businesses of Color. So that's www.businessesofcolor.com. And go to it, give my cousin some support, and just check it out. And you can always find me on Zedos Gang, which again, the address will be in the description. And if you did like this podcast, come back again. Well, thanks everyone. This has been great. It's been a great long chat. Sorry for the instances of interruptions from Zoom. Zoom's great. Go get it. It's great. We'll do this again at some point. When's everyone ready to do this again? In the week or like a week from now?
In a week. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Well, this is the Zedos Gang podcast, and we're out. Go on. Do it. Come on.
I am the man that killed Jamie Lannister.